You're the better clapper.
Yeah, you don't want to forget it.
Oh! Yes! You just hit yourself in the dick with a spinner. Hey guys, welcome back to the Words Are Hard show. Me, it's him, We're all back. We're gonna randomize some stuff. We're gonna randomize and look at topics and
We're gonna pull up a topic and a randomizer on my phone.
topics that you give us.
Neither of you guys can speak today.
No.
No.
Well, I was trying to.
Well, in Mike's defense, he hasn't slept in 24 hours, so.
Let us know your topic suggestions down in the comments section below, along with a request. If we draw your topic, we'll do your request to the best of our abilities. We don't have any requests right now, so fuck you.
Okay.
That was surprisingly well done. I'm impressed. So
How
what do we got?
appropriate. We're going to talk about extreme weather.
Great. In the middle of monsoon season? Yeah.
Monsoon season. We're in New Brunswick, Canada.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, well, this is our monsoon season.
100 centimeters of rain is just a lot of rain.
Millimeters.
It's not
100 centimeters of rain.
Sorry.
God said he would never flood the earth again, but he didn't say anything about New Brunswick.
You saw that.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
4 feet of rain.
I really want to open the curtain,
Don't.
but I know they wouldn't see. All they'd see is a glare. But
Yeah, shut
yeah,
up.
it's been raining now. We got one nice day.
2.
Well, yeah, technically 2 nice days, but it had rained for like a week prior to that. We got the 2 nice days, and now they're calling for like another week of rain, but not just any rain. They're calling for heavy, heavy, heavy downpours, and like apparently 100 centimeters of rain.
Lots of rain.
It's just not cool.
It's like biblical.
The problem with being here, the problem with being here on the East Coast is that we get absolutely shit on all the time. I mean,
And then the weather sucks too.
we've talked twice so far about snowstorms and how they affected us ultimately, right? It's
well, mostly you.
yeah. Well, I mean, and your wife and his car last winter, it was like we get shit on so hard that I forget why I live here, and then I look at like Australia.
I was just gonna say,
Everything wants to kill you over there.
Yeah.
And it's like, well,
even the weather, because
even the weather. Yeah.
Well,
like,
that was the thing. Is like I went down to the Dominican, and the weather was gorgeous. And even when it was raining, I was still laying on the beach because it was warm, and like it would pass pretty quickly. And then I was just like, why don't more people just live here? And then they're like, oh, don't drink the water, you'll get diseases. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, fuck.
that's why people don't live here.
That's why.
that's why.
Yeah, and don't go out into the woods because there's probably something out there that will kill you.
Yeah, but I'm gonna make jokes like that about that area, but we're probably gonna be on a boil order here soon.
That's fair. Yeah. See, right now there's a bunch of the main problem with the province that we're in, with the province of New Brunswick, is that we have one river, basically, 2 rivers. The main one being the St. John River, which flows through most communities here.
It's
right?
our Nile River.
It's our Nile River.
It touches everything.
It touches everything, and right now everything that it touches is flooded.
It's the heart of the potatoes too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mufasa was like, everything the light touches is yours, and it was like, I'm gonna flood it.
I'm flooded.
Except that over there, that's Minto. Don't go over there.
Wow, my hometown's. Yeah, actually, it's funny because my hometown.
Haha, your hometown's outside of a flood zone.
Actually, no.
Yeah.
Actually, no, it's right on the edge of a
Yeah,
lake.
no. So yeah, there's that, but no. There's one stream that runs through most of the town, depending on where you are. Stream, like a creek. Anyway, no, it's like it floods over and into the public park every year around this time, and it's kind of funny to drive by and see just everything being absolutely covered.
Yeah.
'Cause it happens every year. Right now, Grand Lake, which is the biggest lake in the province, all the roads near where I would go swimming, everything is just flooded over. Like there's the back lake and there's the front lake, and they're connected right now. It's just one
now
big
it's just
lake.
one
lake. And
well, if there's one thing that the weather's doing, it's bringing lakes together. That's
nice.
It's nice. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. So I mean, this year though has been probably the worst it's been in a couple of years for flooding.
Well, that was the most snow that we've gotten in a long time.
A very long time.
So
yeah.
for that,
and
all
then on
that
top
snow
of
to
that,
melt,
to get all this rain.
yeah.
It's pretty bad.
Normally, I mean, like, everybody talks about the flooding that happened in 2008, which kind of sucks because, like, you know, my wife was sitting on the couch the other day, and she's like, "Oh my god, blah 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 street downtown is missing, and blah blah blah's missing," and then she goes, "Oh no, there's a fucking repost from 2008."
Yeah. No, and it's funny because like I remember seeing this specifically in 2008, and this is probably the worst it's been since 2008. I'd gander.
2008, I was still in high school, so
Oh, there you go.
I wasn't even in Fredericton.
No, it was pretty bad.
See, the sad part is I remember it being worse years ago when I was just a kid, but specifically in Perth, Andover.
Well, wasn't there big major flooding in like the 80s around here?
Yeah, and that's what I'm referring to.
That was the last time. Like it was there was something in the 80s. I forget what year, and then 2008, and those were like the two big flood years.
Somewhere I think I still have newspaper clippings of pictures of people's houses like underwater from the Perth Andover area.
Actually, it's funny that you
What
mentioned
year
that,
was that? Fuck.
because
I'll have
about
to look it up later, but it was definitely 80 something.
about it was either 2 or 3 years ago now. Up in Perth Andover, up in that area,
They get hit hard. Though,
they get
with
hit
floods.
hard. It was still when the ice hadn't fully melted yet, but the rain was so bad that it was picking up the ice and just dragging it downriver. But it was also dragging full buildings down the river too. And there's one of the buildings was like the video was like following the building, going into, and crashed into like a stone bridge. And
It's not a
just-
stone bridge. It's the dam probably because they're upriver from.
It might have been the
From
dam,
the
but I'm
dam.
pretty sure it was a bridge because there were people like all around it.
You
But
sure you were alive, Greg? It says it's 1973.
No, there was another one in the 80s.
so this house, like this building, just full on gets swallowed by this bridge. It cracks. Like the destruction was amazing.
Yeah.
But there were people that were like had to evacuate their kids and their pets and like had to get out of there real quick because the flooding was coming.
But that's the thing that always boggles my mind, and I know that some of these people are just of the mindset that, oh, I've lived here for years, I'm not going to leave now. But there are people that are in a flood zone that every year, it doesn't matter how much snow or how much rain, they just happen to live in that zone that it's always going to flood at that time of year.
Well, down at Grand Lake, I guess they always have to have their houses up on like these massive foundations, like these
You got
massive wooden
rich
foundations.
people with waterfront properties.
Yeah, I mean, like it's
But,
issues that they have to deal with.
What I'm
So-
thinking of isn't even necessarily rich people. It's just people that are of the mindset that, oh, my family's lived in this for generations. We're not giving up this
My
land.
pappy live here, and his pappy for him.
Yeah.
I will
that
go
type of
down
thing.
with
I'd
the
be
flood.
like, screw my pappy. My pappy was an idiot. I'm moving.
See, so this is just rain and stuff that we have here. Like you get the floods that are happening over in like Texas right now.
Over in Texas?
You mentioned
Man, fuck, like there's some it boggles my mind where some states, some areas are so big that people can be oblivious to something that's happening within that state. If something happens in New Brunswick, we hear about it.
Yes.
It's small enough, right? There's like somebody gets stabbed like in St. John, we're going to hear about it in Fredericton. In Texas, where a lot of my coworkers are in Austin,
You're distracting us.
sorry. Yeah, so like, a lot of your
so-
coworkers are in.
So like
Austin.
yeah, a lot of them are in Austin, and I brought up something the other day where I was just somebody was taking some time off, and I was just like, oh, are you? I was like, oh, you gonna go do some fishing? You got plenty of water down there, ha ha ha. And he's like, what? He's like, well, it's not that bad this year. I was like, I just saw in the news that everybody's dying from flooding, and he's like, oh, not around here. And it's like, he's like, I don't know what's going on wherever else. I was like, wow, what
couldn't
fucking
imagine.
Texas is so big that like another city is like dying from floods, and like Austin is like, I don't care.
See, what amazes me about that, it's not just what you said about here in New Brunswick. If something like that was happening in New Brunswick, you know about it. Hell, if something like that was happening in another province, we would probably know about it.
Yeah,
Pretty much, yeah.
And
But-
you're talking about the same state.
yeah,
Yeah.
but that state's
I know it's
I don't know,
huge,
Texas
and there's
is
so many people just living there alone, but still.
so. That being said, what's the most extreme weather that you've ever been through? Personally,
If we're talking, as far as rain is concerned, I was out camping. and
rain's not extreme. I
No,
wouldn't
no,
call
no,
it
no, no.
extreme.
this was torrential downpour. Like this is the hardest rain. Like if you stepped outside for like 2 seconds, you were fully drenched. Like the rain hurt when it came down. Like when it was raining. Like,
I remember once when it was raining really hard, and I was like, I wonder if I could shower in the rain. I was like 9, and I walked outside with a shampoo bottle, and then I washed my hair in the rain, and my mom was in the door, and she was like, "The fuck are you doing?"
You're an idiot.
No, this with this torrential downpour, you absolutely 100% could have showered in the rain. It was that heavy.
I did.
When we're talking snow, I mean, it's gotta be within the last couple of years, like when just Snowmageddon and shit.
I can honestly say the only reason why I'm bitching more now is because I own my own house and I'm responsible for that snow removal.
Yeah.
But I remember back in high school when it was like, oh, day off work, day off school, go shovel the driveway, Michael. And I walk outside and I couldn't see our car. Like,
Yeah.
It was like...
I was just going to say,
I've been through it.
When I was a kid, we would get snowfall that you could go out and dig a hole down through the snow, and it would be like over my parents' head. Like,
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, we used to do it.
We used to dig
yeah.
tunnels everywhere in our yard because
I
you
did
had
that
enough.
too.
Not just because of where it was plowed, but like there'd be enough snow in just the yard itself that you could dig tunnel systems through the yard.
I used to, I'd go up to snowbanks and we would dig straight down and then dig out a fort. And then somebody was just like, so what happens when the snowplow comes by and puts more snow on that when you're in it? And I was like, huh. I guess we die.
That's what you do somewhere. Yeah. So I mean, like, even with the plowed snow, I mean, we would do that. But even if it was unplowed, I jumped off one of the vehicles and into a snowbank. I got stuck. Like the snow was up to my neck. And I'm like, oh, well, I guess now.
I guess I live here now.
I guess I live here. This is my life now.
This is my life.
Send food, please. So I mean, there's been minor times as a kid, but it's not as if like the snowstorm of '74 or whatever, where everything was
yes,
just.
I remember the snowstorm of '74.
74. I don't know, because like in my lifetime in New Brunswick, there hasn't been sort of the typical extreme weather. There hasn't been like the hurricane, tornado.
Well, we did have a year or two ago where the hurricane hit, and
Arthur?
yeah,
That
just
turned out
because
to
we
be
lost
more of a
power.
tropical storm.
The problem with Arthur is that because here in New Brunswick, our power grid is absolutely
terrible.
It's fucked. It's super shitty.
Our infrastructure.
Our
is
infrastructure
old.
is old. It did a lot more damage than what it realistically should have.
Yeah.
We were without power here I was without power for a day and a half, maybe 2 days.
The other
there were
thing is,
people for like 2 weeks.
2
without
weeks
power.
without power.
When people say hurricane, they picture like the tunnel clouds and like, you know what I mean, like a tornado. So, but the thing is because New Brunswick is the least flat, massive land in the entire world. I learned in my Canadian geography class we're on the Precambrian Shield of Canada. So
Stop bringing your learning in here. We're not.
We don't need to
so I
learn.
mean we're not flat. We're not even enough for anything like that to touch down. And if it did, it would get pretty quickly disrupted by the land. So
Yeah.
when we get something like a hurricane, it turns out like Arthur was more or less a tropical storm. It just turns into heavy winds and rain.
But that's bad enough on its own, though. Is my point.
It was, yeah. I can't say I've ever been a part of major damage from weather either, other than the power being out for a week. But at the time, I lived in the city, right? So, like, if I lived where I do now, out in the middle of the woods, and I had my own power line and stuff, I probably would have been out for much longer than a week. But I was right in town, so, like, it's not like I lost water.
I was in town, and I was without it for a week.
So was I. But I'm saying we'd lose it for longer than a week, I said.
Oh, that's your.
But, like, in town, like, you still have water. You can go to whatever store might have power, might have backup, I remember I went into the office, actually, and I charged up all, like, laptops, phones, and everything.
I have one of those battery boost packs for jump-starting cars. But there's an outlet on it, so you can plug devices into it. So I was bringing it into work with me, plugging it in under my desk.
I'm sure a lot
charging
of people
it, and
were.
then taking it home and using that to watch movies and stuff at home before going to bed.
Yeah.
Works.
But I mean, I remember going over to my mother-in-law's house, and I collected rainwater in a pot and then boiled it on the barbecue so I could make tea and coffee and stuff. Just because like she was on a well at the time.
Yep.
So I didn't, and we had got those big gallon jugs, which were sold out everywhere at the time, but we had a couple empty ones, and I filled them up at our apartment where we still had water and brought them to her. But I didn't want to use that on her for coffee. Yeah. So, especially where we're getting like a flood of rain, right? So
Yeah, basically.
That's my quote survival man. I mean, like I don't handle no power well.
No,
really?
I don't.
What?
For sure.
You don't?
Are you being sarcastic?
No, I'm asking. Yeah,
So the power went out one time, and this was actually the time during Arthur, because I think I told the story where my water got cut off for a day during that time because some lady flooded her apartment.
Yep.
So like the timing was just awful. But anyway, I didn't have water for an hour, I think, and where I didn't have like anything to distract me because the power was still out. I was like, I'm so thirsty, I need water, and I ended up drinking a glass of water from the Keurig reservoir on the side, and I was just like, why?
Nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's sitting there. It's stagnant water
fine.
unless you boil it. It's kind of fucked. But I mean, like, it was just weird how like, as soon as I didn't have it, I turned into like the survivalist where I was like, I'm gonna die. I need it. Like.
See, I mean, I could do perfectly fine. Like, if you put me out in the woods, I'll survive for.
I'm not saying I couldn't survive. I'd just be miserable the entire time.
I'd be out in the. If you put me out in the woods and I was camping or something, that's a different story. That's surviving in the wild. I'm talking about if I'm at home and the power goes out, I'm like, oh, I'm fucking bored. Unless there's somebody else around to play board games with or something. Like,
There's last summer, power was out, and I'm like, well, fuck it, I'm gonna go fishing. So I just loaded up the car with my fishing stuff and went out. I'm like, fuck this.
yeah.
I mean, like.
I would do something like that. I'm just saying, like, if I had nothing to do and I was just stuck at home, I'd get really bored.
I'm the same way.
Huh.
I'm heavily reliant on... It's funny because where I am older than you guys and I didn't grow up with it, I'm heavily reliant on the internet.
You become dependent.
I've become dependent on the internet, and that's my sole entertainment, it seems like. So if the internet's out, I don't know what to do with myself.
I still have like my.
And I know it's stupid. There's still lots of stuff you could do.
I still have my old Game Boy somewhere that that'll pick up from time to time. Like if the power were to be out for days, I'm like, fuck this, all right?
Yeah, I got my. I had the Game Boy Advance SP kicking around somewhere.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh yeah, I still got my Game Boy. I can play it. And then it died, and I'm just like, don't worry, the battery's rechargeable.
Damn it!
So the plight of new technology.
Yeah.
I have my Game Boy Color though.
This is why I need a Nintendo Switch.
But who the fuck buys batteries these days? Nobody.
No.
Nobody buys batteries.
So I mean,
except my wife.
So I mean, yeah, no. As far as extreme weather is concerned, we deal mainly with snow and rain, but we don't really normally get super, super, super hot weather very often, right?
And when we do,
it's
it's not
humid.
for like weeks on end. Like some people will get. There's been a few times
there's been a summer where it was like 2 straight months of extreme humidity where it was like 30
humidity.
plus.
I'm talking like super sunny, scorching heat type thing.
I would rather that than humidity. Honestly, I would rather a dry.
I got like 3 air conditioners in my house, so I don't
hot
care.
heat. Well, like I was fine once I got air conditioners, but when
You're right.
when we were first in our apartment, I remember when we first got our bed frame and I was setting it up and it was like 36, 37 degrees with the humidity, and I'm on the top floor, and the people below me for some reason have the heat on because I could feel it through the floor. And I have all the windows open, but the air is still. There's no wind. And I'm standing in a puddle of my own sweat in the middle of a room trying to set up this fucking...
Yeah.
When I was in college for, I guess it's probably 7 years ago now, 6 or 7 years ago, in September, it was hot, it was humid, and none of us could sleep. Like, there was at one point where 3 of us ended up all in the same room together with just, like, only one of us had a fan. And I'm sleeping on the floor of this person's, dorm room with a fan going back and forth. I'm like, all right, well, this is my life now. It was like that for, like, 3 or 4 weeks, and that was just awful.
Yeah, see, we got a really good big air conditioner and then just a smaller one, and we'll put the really big one in our bedroom and
the smaller one in the rest.
and close the door and just like run it full blast all day, and then you get home from work, you're hot, you're pissed off, you're all sweaty, and you step in and it's like a fucking walk-in freezer.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, I got one of my current air conditioners from you, did I not?
Yeah, because I had 2 small ones.
Yeah,
And then
so I got
a really
my
big
small one from you, and then we got lucky and we found a big one on Kijiji in Grand Falls of all places. But because my parents have a season lot at a campground in Grand Falls, we just messaged them and they picked it up for us. So
That worked out.
and then I got one of those stand-up ones that has the vent that you run to the window, and
I don't find those work very well.
they don't work very well. But I usually put that in my office so that if
I'd put it up my shirt or my pants.
No, thank you. I don't want to deal with the weather anymore. I just want this rain to fucking pass.
it will in about a week.
See, like,
Yeah, I've been waiting a long time. That's the big thing with weather for me. I've been waiting a long time to get back on the longboard.
I've been waiting a long time to get a longboard.
And, well, you like to talk about things, but you're not doing shit.
Or I do it and then I don't follow through. I'm terrible for that, I admit.
But, I mean, like, we've been waiting so long for all the snow to melt, finally melts, and then we get all this rain. It's like, I can't fucking handle it. I went longboarding in the rain once, and I had to buy new bearings. So
I was just going to say, the rain wouldn't bother me. Why would that be a problem? But then what you just said about the bearings would make sense. It's not just you got to worry about.
a lot of people specifically go out and longboard in the rain, but, like, if you don't have the money to replace the parts on your longboard, don't do
Makes
it.
sense.
I don't know. Lessons learned?
Weather sucks.
ditto.
That's just pretty
I
much
got
all
nothing
there
to
is
say
it.
about it. It's,
Yeah.
I hate where I live because of the weather, but it's better than other places.
Lessons learned. I don't know whether the weather is good or bad. Haha. Wordplay!
Thanks for watching that episode of the Words of Heart Show, guys. Leave a comment down below of future topics that we can talk about, and leave a request with that if you want to. We'll fulfill it to the best of our ability. Go ahead and leave a like on this video, share it with your friends, and check out our social media in the links below. We have Facebook, Twitter, Google+, Instagram. We're pretty active on all those platforms. You can also check out the shirt store that we have down there. We can get you some faces on some chests. And if you want to subscribe to see more videos, you can go ahead and click right here between me and Mike. If you want to check out our last video, you can check between Mike and Greg for that link. Thanks for watching.